INTPs, they have low extroversion, low agreeableness, low organization, but very high openness to new experiences. INTPs live in rich worlds inside their own minds, full of imagination and excitement. That is, unless they're not sleeping, which seems to be a lot of the time. But then they might have some really cool dreams. In fact, research shows that people with high openness or intuition tend to remember their dreams more and look for meaning in them, which is pretty interesting. However, because they're so in their heads, INTPs sometimes find the outside world to be extremely dull and unstimulating in comparison. And this can lead to a lack of motivation to form and maintain relationships or even just to leave their own home, which is perhaps the biggest struggle of this type. Because INTP's focus and attention is inward looking, with their abstract thoughts and ideas, they have a hard time tuning into the feelings and emotional needs of others. It is that it just doesn't seem to be the main focus of their cognitive efforts. Some positive points of this type are their incredible intelligence and logic. And that's it. Now, some weaknesses of them are the lack of connection with one's own feelings and those of others, a difficulty expressing oneself, a tendency to be suspicious, poor skills in practical matters such as taking care of the house and paying bills, to a lack of acting in the real world because they believe that everything can be solved with intelligence, leading the INTP to make no effort at all to achieve real goals. Because of this, a great fear of frustration. The INTP's dominant function is introverted thinking, TI, a function that seeks to calculate the actions and reactions of things. It is a way of categorizing information in a very personal and unique way, which is quite difficult to explain to others, or at least strange, because it often only makes sense to the INTP himself. In that sentence, this function will be, I have to figure out exactly how it all works logistically in relationship to everything else. The auxiliary NE, or extroverted intuition, manifests itself as a function of perceiving the world in its infinite possibilities, according to the logical and personal systems created by TI. While the dominant function takes care of logic and personal judgments, this function serves as a way of expanding these thoughts in different alternative, abstract, and creative ways. This is what makes them often like alternative and little-known films, series and anime, be scientists, or perhaps eccentric music composers like Bo Burnham or Anna Chicken Electric. The NE auxiliary monologue would be, I see a million different ways of looking at the concept I've been analyzing, and I want to consider them all. INTPs, like their brother types, INFPs, use tertiary SI, or introverted sensation, which manifests as a propensity to be nostalgic for extremely insignificant details. It makes these INTPs want to spend all of their day on YouTube thinking they're doing something productive with their lives. When extroverted intuition comes along with a brilliant out-of-the-box insight, SI tries to explore the farthest reach of these possibilities. However, clinging to this function makes the INTP completely stagnant and absorbed in things that tend to be impractical. In other cases, this function makes the INTP seem like Sherlock Holmes, analyzing several details that are not very related to other people. The SI tertiary monologue is, how can I give details to my logical and abstract theories? The INTP's shadow is the extroverted feeling FE. As mentioned before, this is what makes this type antisocial, due to their lack of attention to the relationships, ethics, and social norms. The INTPs can appear frightening to their classmates as possible school shooters. That is, when these classmates are not trying to take advantage of the INTPs for their intelligence and innocence. The inferior FE monologue would be, feelings make me freeze with anxiety because I don't know how to moderate them. I'm terrified of accidentally offending someone. And to overcome these, INTPs should appreciate the value of interpersonal relationships with people who meet their intellectual and cognitive engagement. Use their curiosity to get to know people rather than just objects. In this way, meeting their own emotional needs and those of other people who so desperately want to get to know INTPs. To develop this, they should spend more time with other types who are more sociable like ENFJs, INFJs, and ENTPs. However, the types that get along the best with INTPs are intuitives in general, but more specifically ENTJs and perhaps ESTJs, who can have much more proactive view in the world, which can help to push the INTPs into action and larger life goals. Comparing to other types, the ISTPs are much more radical than the INTPs, caring much about the sensations of things or the sensation that these things provoke than the mental engagement of them. The INFPs tend to fantasize more about intimate relationships and stories rather than logical systems. INTJs are much more narcissistic, rude, and arrogant, and care much more about status and the real world. And the ENTPs, although also narcissistic, they can't talk to a cashier at a bakery, things that INTPs just cannot do. In real life, there's just two types of INTPs. They're either Albert Einstein or just Patrick Star. One of the two. Which one are you?